everyone, it's Misty here. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, I am going to talk to you about my experience with genetic testing. I'm going to do my best not to cry. That's why I put on a full face of glam today. So I would hopefully not cry, but I'm not making any promises. So yeah, let me do a little TLDR about what got me to this point. So in 2016, I woke up with really just the most insane muscle weakness ever. Like I could literally barely lift my arms. I was struggling to get dressed. And I remember telling Rob, I was like, something's not right. And that was October 2016. And then finally in June 2017, I was diagnosed with Myasthenia gravis. That is a neuromuscular junction disorder, autoimmune. So basically where the nerve and the muscle meet and talk, that was the body's attacks there. So I had that diagnosis until December 2021. In November of 2021, I started what's called IVIG. So IV is just, it's through an IV, and then it's immunoglobulin, I believe is how you pronounce it. Don't quote me. It's a blood product. And there are dangers that come with that, but it was helping. It helped so flippin' much. But my neurologist was retiring and called me, still hooked up to an IV, the end of December. It was like the 27th or 28th, and was like, hi, just kidding. You only have chronic fatigue syndrome. And I told her, I was like, that's not right. That can't be right. I don't even have any symptoms of chronic fatigue, except sometimes I have to take a nap, but I also have rheumatoid arthritis. So spent half of 2023 going to neurologist and just, it's something we just don't know what. It's something we don't just know what. And I think it was by like May or June, I told her, I was like, my husband and I was like, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to do anything. We'll start again in 2023. So in 2022, I was like, I want genetic testing, and we kept going back and forth and back and forth. UT Southwestern is not on, they're on my shit list, let me just tell you. But anyway, so this year I pursued third party, meaning there was it was sequencing.com. They talked about you could find out if you have a rare disease, blah, 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 blah. So I had this data and that I didn't know what to do with. So I was talking, I don't know what even I was said to my gynecologist, and she's like, oh, you should really consider seeing a genetic counselor. And I was like, what? And she said, yeah. And I said, do I need a referral for that? And she said, no, just call and make an appointment. So I did. And this was sometime in the beginning or the mid of August. So the way this worked is you call and let them know what's going on. And I told them that I had tests and I wanted to talk, speak with someone to see if they could go over it with me. So initially they said, okay, since you have cancer in your background, like your family has had a history of cancer, we really think that you should meet with someone in the cancer area. And I said, no, I don't want to. Sorry, my mouth is really dry. I said, I want to talk with somebody in neurology. I said, I had myasthenia gravis diagnosis. They took it away. I said, but I still have the exact same symptoms. And now I have even more symptoms on top of it. So she's like, okay. So they scheduled me with a neurologist person. And then I get a call and they're like, no, you're going to have to speak with someone in cancer. So I spoke with the guy and I just finally said, this is not what I want. I don't care. And he's like, and then started telling him the exact same story. And he's like, oh yeah, you really need to speak with someone in neurology and not me. I'm going to cancel this appointment and you can call back and schedule the next one. So I did. Day of, I get a call from someone who said, hey, I'm calling because I wanted to let you know I'm going to cancel your appointment because I saw that you saw someone with cancer yesterday in the cancer area yesterday, and you're scheduled again. And that seems like it's wrong. I said, no, it's not wrong. And she's like, well, can you explain to me why? And I told her. And she's like, but what about I said, I don't care about the cancer. I said, she's like, you don't care? I said, no, I don't care. I said, because half of the population of the world, I believe, it's going to end up with cancer at one point in their life. I have cancer on both sides of the family. I mean, I have a new mole. Like, I could care less about the cancer stuff right now. Plus, I'm no contact with my mother. My father is dead. So there's really nobody else that we can test other than my brother or my sister, but both of them are half siblings. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. So I meet with a woman in neurology, and I filmed a video called Hope. And I felt so hopeful in that appointment. Sent in my DNA. They said it would be 2 to 3 weeks. And then I got the notification that my results were back and that I needed this schedule. And I posted everywhere that I felt like I was going to throw up because I was terrified. I was terrified that I was going to have something, you know, that's incurable or untreatable or the exact opposite, or we weren't going to figure out anything. So the next day I had an appointment with someone else, and I feel like I want to call back and say, hey, I would like to meet with the person I initially worked with, because this new person, Rob's like, did you notice that she ended every sentence on a question? And I was like, no, I didn't notice it the first time. Well, when I talked to her yesterday, I did. So anyway, we ran let me put my glasses on. I should just leave this here because I am thirsty. All right, so the initial, here's my sheet. So initially we did the comprehensive neuromuscular disorders panel. So it encompasses like congenital myasthenic syndrome, which is one I mentioned in that other video, and muscular dystrophy. And so I was most concerned about the congenital myasthenic because it's basically the genetic version of myasthenia gravis. So it's not necessarily autoimmune, it's genetic. And so we're talking to this lady, and she made it sound like that it was inconclusive. And when she said a certain word, I was just like, what? I was trying not to lose it on the phone because she made it seem as if the results were inconclusive. And so I said, well, there has to be something. I said, what about the one for autoimmune? And what about, neuropathy and all these things? So she said we can add on one time. So we added on the comprehensive neuropathies panel and the preliminary evidence genes for neuropathies, and then auto-inflammatory and autoimmunity syndromes panel, and we got some hits. So I had already reached out to my therapist and was like, hey, can you see me this week? I got my genetic test results and I feel like I'm going to need you. And she's like, yeah, I can meet with you at noon. So I had my appointment with this lady like at 9:30, 10, and I saw my therapist at noon, and I literally just sobbed. Like I broke down and lost my shit because the lady made it seem like this was inconclusive. And at the time we had lost internet. So what day was that? The Sunday before Labor Day. So like Sunday and then Labor Day. We had a freak storm blow through and we lost electricity for 5 or 6 hours, but we also lost internet. And while everybody else with Frontier got their internet back, our box somehow had the surge, knocked it out or whatever. So we went an entire week without internet, and bless their hearts, our neighbors were like trying to share their Wi-Fi, but I couldn't pull up the results on the computer because I didn't have Wi-Fi, the hotspot wasn't working, all the things. So I didn't have it in front of my face. So she ran all these other panels, and I got the results last Thursday or last Friday, I don't remember. So but by then we had internet and I pulled it up, and I looked at Rob and I said, this says unspecified significance. This doesn't say inconclusive. So when I talked to her the second time, she said, do you have any questions? I said, yes, I have a question. I said, so unspecified significance, that just means it's there. They just don't know how much it's affecting. And she said, they don't know how much it's affecting because they don't have anybody else that they've encountered in their lab. Not all the other labs in the United States, in their specific lab. So this gene mutation is there for a congenital myasthenic syndrome. So that is a thing that I have. They just don't know what significance the mutation played in this onset of symptoms. Listen, I was telling Rob, we did a genetic thing in high school, and I was in a group, and I was the note taker. I never understood about recessive genes, carrier genes, anything like that. I never did. So I may be incorrect, but from what I understand and what we talked about, there is a mutation in the gene for that shows that there is congenital myasthenic syndrome. Editing Misty here. So I've been reading more. It's not myasthenia gravis, because myasthenia gravis is autoimmune, but it is myasthenic. And I'm like, it pulled up a Wikipedia article and it says there's only like 600 documented families and 1 in 200,000. I'm very special, which you guys already knew. Sorry, I'm in my old wear around the house shirt. But yeah, I just wanted to put that in because it's not myasthenia gravis. That is autoimmune. This is inherited. It's genetic. So it's something a little bit different. Okay. So I do still have myasthenia gravis. I just have the genetic version rather than the autoimmune version. Okay, great. Then we talked about the rest of the test. So, my mouth is so dry. There were 3 that popped up. One of them was a gene that is related to Crohn's disease. And she said that I have a 10% more chance than the normal person to getting Crohn's disease. I don't have any symptoms of Crohn's disease, so that's not something I'm concerned about, and 10% is not that high. I have a colonoscopy scheduled for December, so if they see something, maybe that's a route I may have to go down. But I'm already on immune suppression therapy, so I don't think that there's much else they can do. And I'm already gluten-free because I eat low-carb keto. So yeah, okay, the next one is the big one. So the next gene and variant is autosomal recessive common variable immunodeficiency, also known as CVID. So CVID is an immune system disorder that causes you to have low levels of the proteins that help fight infections. If you have it, you'll likely have repeated infections in your ear, sinus, and respiratory symptoms. I had to have my tonsils out like before I was even 3 years old because I had chronic ear infections as a kid. I can remember in high school, like the week before state speech and debate, I would get an upper respiratory system. I'm prone to getting bronchitis. I've had, a strep infection in the body where I had like a hole in my in my stomach. I've had 2 staph infections where I've had holes in my leg. So it's like, okay, this all makes sense. This all makes sense. And of that, it's called hypogammaglobulinemia. I'll flash it up on the screen. So a disorder caused by low serum immunoglobulin or antibody levels. So that explains why the IVIG worked. Because I don't produce enough IVIG, or I don't produce enough IG. So I had these results on Thursday and was talking to everybody. Rob and I were talking about it, and I just went round and round and round on Google, and I was just like, I can't even think about it anymore. So talked to my therapist about it on Monday, and it was so funny. Well, it wasn't funny, but she's so sweet. I love her so much. She started taking notes. She's like, I'm going to start looking into this for me. She's like, because I have similar symptoms and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, feel free. Go right ahead. So, yeah. So the last one that they tested is another one that's unspecified significance. But that one is B-cell something or other. And the disease connected with that is called Hoffman's disease. Or Hoffman's syndrome, and I don't have any of the symptoms for that. So when we were done, I said, do I need to see an immunologist first, or should I see a neurologist first? Now, you guys know I went round and round with 3 of the neurologists from UT Southwestern in 2022. And I said I would never go back. I made an appointment with UT Southwestern for the 26th. And I'm seeing a nurse practitioner, somebody I hadn't seen before. And the only reason I have that appointment with UT Southwestern is because I'm an established patient and will get in faster than if I do a referral for somebody else. But now that we've gotten this second batch of testing done, I was able to make an appointment with an immunologist on Thursday, the 21st. And depending on how that goes, I may not need to see the neurologist, because if they're going to do IVIG and he can do IVIG, then it won't matter about the myasthenic syndrome, because all they will do is they'll treat it the exact same way, or maybe put me on a different immunosuppressant, like orally. So Rob and I've just been like sitting down and just thinking, and in July of 2016 is when my health started deteriorating. In July of 2016, I had emergency gallbladder surgery. I think I've talked about this before. I don't remember. How old was I in 2016? 38? I don't know. Let me do the math. Lord have mercy on my soul. 45, no, Misty, 2016. Ooh, look at me doing math. 38. So it was 38. I had gallstones since I was 18 years old. Like, I had gallstones probably even longer than that. And they were never bothersome, like ever, until they were. So I had been vomiting, and like I could not keep anything down. I probably lost 30 pounds in like 2 weeks, because I literally would eat and then throw it all back up. And my friend, she was like, Missy, we had a trip planned. We had a trip planned to the Northeast for like the last 2 weeks of September and the first week of October. I think it's how that worked out. And so we had the flights booked, like all of it. And my friend was like, Misty, she's like, you need to bite the bullet and go see the doctor, because what if something's wrong and you have to end up canceling your vacation? And I was like, oh, hell to the no. So I went to my doctor, and this was back when I could get in to see him same day, next day. That's impossible now. And I said, hey, I've been having these issues. He's like, that sounds like your gallbladder. So where we live right next door to a hospital. And then right on the other side of the hospital is our doctor's office. So he's like, go next door, get an ultrasound, and I don't think he told me to go through the ER, so I didn't. And the lady was like, what are you here for? I said, my doctor said I need an ultrasound. And she's like, do you have an appointment? I said, no. I said, he literally told me to come here to have an ultrasound done. So I had the ultrasound done, and it hadn't been 5 minutes. I was sitting out in the waiting room for about 5 minutes. And the radiologist walked out, and he said, are you Misty? I said, yeah. He said, I'm Dr. So-and-so. I'm the radiologist. I'm going to walk you down to the emergency room. He said, because your gallbladder is about to burst. You need gallbladder surgery. And I was like, holy crap on a cracker. So I honestly think maybe that started triggering things. So that was July. In August, mid-August, the end of August, I got a phone call from my endocrinologist, from him, not a nurse, not a medical assistant, from him. And he said, I've been monitoring your calcitonin levels, because he put me on Victoza. And he said, you need to have a thyroid ultrasound done. I was like, what? He's like, normally calcitonin means that high calcitonin means that you have thyroid, a tumor on your thyroid. And I was like, God damn. I just healed from gallbladder surgery. And by the way, those of you who could do 3 days and then you're good to go, not me. It took me 2.5 weeks to be able to get back to work, because I don't know what he did, but I could not stand up straight for a good 2 weeks. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. So the day before, we're getting on a flight to go to Boston, Logan Airport, for a 3-week vacation. I'm at the endocrinologist's office having her read the the ultrasound, because my doctor at the time was 3.5 hours away. It's like, we don't have time to go 3.5 hours away. We were supposed to get up at 2 o'clock because they were going to pick us up at 3 a.m. to go to the DFW. So anyway, so she's like, yeah, she said, you do have some nodules on your thyroid. She said, they're not very big. She's like, but they are concerning. So I'm going to send all of this to your regular endocrinologist, blah, 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 blah. And I said, am I okay to fly? And she said, yeah. So we went on vacation. We went to Old Sturbridge Village. So if you're from Massachusetts or from New England, maybe you've been there. It's not huge, but it's not small either. And I can remember, and I just remember this the other day, I had such a hard time walking at Old Sturbridge Village. I had a hard time walking that entire vacation, and it never dawned on me that it was muscle weakness from something else. I just, we had stayed in a hotel room where they didn't have the elevator, was broken. So we had to walk up and down the stairs. But I used to be very active for a fat person. And I was at 425 then. So it's like a lot. So anyway, I think I had already started having symptoms. But it wasn't until it presented in my arms that I really took notice to what was happening. So I think that that gallbladder may be what had triggered all of this to happen. So, yeah. Long story short, I see an immunologist on Thursday. And hopefully he will get me back on IVIG with a quickness. I just felt so much better. And that's why I told my therapist, I was like, I just want quality of life. I'm like, I'm homebound. I can't drive myself anywhere. I can't go meet a friend for lunch, and I can't go to, Michael's just to look around, and we went grocery shopping at Sam's last week, and I did okay, but I still had to come home and not do much for a few hours before I could do anything else, because right now, nothing, the CVID, the myasthenia, nothing is being done to treat that, because my rheumatologist cannot prescribe IVIG. She's like, I have to send you to another neurologist. And I was like, fuck that. No. So, yeah. It's a lot. So my brother called me the other day and he was like, yeah, he had double ear infection, and he had just had tubes like last December, and we were just talking, etc. And then I texted him. I was like, you may also be a carrier for CVID. And I sent him all the information. I said, that doesn't mean that's what's going on. I said, but if the tubes didn't help, and, the couple other things you guys are doing isn't helping, that may be what's going on. So I don't know. I don't know if he'll tell anybody. I don't know. So, yeah. I hit the jackpot, y'all, with the genetics shit. And the issue is, I need to tell my sister about it, but I don't know what side of the family this comes from. I don't know what side. I don't know if this is from my father's side of the family. I don't know if this is from my mother's side of the family. And, we were poor. We were poor. And so we only ever went to the doctor if we absolutely needed to go to the doctor. So it wasn't like I was having any of this testing done back then. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the update. That's the update. So I saw my therapist on Monday, and I talked to the genetics chick yesterday. And she said, how do you feel? And I said, I feel that this explains a whole ton of shit. A lot of symptoms I've been feeling for years and years and years. This explains it. I said, so I feel like, okay, we know which route we need to go. So I hope this is a good immunologist. I haven't even seen my regular doctor. So Rob and I pay for the highest level of insurance that you can get, because I was sick before we got it. And I said, we should probably have it so we can get, I can get my own referrals without having to go through a doctor. So lucky I was able to do that. Initially, they were going to put me in October. I said, if you have anything sooner, I said, I will go to a different office that I need to. And she said September 21st. So that appointment's on September 21st. And then the next day, I have my second set of facet injections for my neck. So I guess surely there's nothing that the immunologist is going to say that would affect that. I don't know. Maybe I should reach out to that doctor. He's not my normal doctor, but I can call his medical assistant, I think. So, 7 years. 7 years of my life pushing and advocating for myself and doing my damnedest to make sure my voice is heard and navigating fat phobic doctors, navigating doctors who provide the very basic level of care, all of the gaslighting, all of it led to this point. So yeah, so now I have some answers and hopefully I can get a plan going with the immunologist and hopefully he's good. And he had good ratings on she's like, how did you find us? And I said, on my insurance's website. I just typed it in. So I've cried about it a couple times. Yesterday with Rob, I was just so pissed at her because, again, she made it sound like it was inconclusive, but it wasn't inconclusive. It's just saying it doesn't know at what level it caused it. It's caused it, but it doesn't know what level. And they may never know what level because they have to have a person that has the exact same mutation with the exact same symptoms. And that could be, short of never. So it's done. It's done. So yeah, so that's it. I have wanted to shop. If anybody wants to send me $1,000 so I can buy Stress Shop, I'd appreciate it. Anybody, any takers? Oh my word. It's been hard to concentrate. My memory has been dumb. I've just been under so much stress. My right eye has been twitching. I've developed my tremor is, I don't know if you guys can even see that. My pinky finger. Like, I woke up this morning and my hand was doing like this. So I don't know if this is all related or what, but I told her, I was like, I need to sit down and figure out a timeline, type it all up so I have something to give to him. I need to sit down and write down every single symptom. I wonder if that's in the document, in the visit document. I need to look that up. So that's where we're at. So yeah, so those of you who've been with me since day one of this bullshit, thank you very much. For those of you who may be new, so let me talk about, so I used Genome Medical, and I believe they're nationwide. You can call them even if you don't have insurance. I believe the visit is $150. So it's kind of expensive, but you guys, I spent $500 on that genetic testing. That is basically worthless. So if you are at your wit's end, just ask your doctor if they can refer you to a genetic counselor, or like I said, just call because you don't even need a referral. You will meet with somebody. So like I said, I only know of cancer and neurology, but I'm sure there's other things like, autoimmune or those kinds of things. You'll meet with a counselor and you basically go over your symptoms, every symptom you've ever had, and then they decide if there is a genetic test that will that kind of fits the symptoms that you're having. And then I was lucky that my test was sponsored by the Muscular Dystrophy Association. I don't know that all tests are sponsored by the Muscular Dystrophy Association, like if it's neuromuscular. And then you send in your DNA, and then it's, a couple of weeks and you get the results, then you meet with them again, and then hopefully that gives you an answer. And mine is covered by insurance. But again, you may only have to pay for the visit if there's a sponsor for your test, if they feel like you even need a test. So it's a lot of steps, but I don't think I feel hope. It's not hope. Like, I don't feel hopeless like I did last week. Like, on that phone call or with that Zoom meeting with my therapist, she's like, yeah, we're feeling hopeless, aren't we? We're feeling more hopeless. I'm back to what's the point? What's the point? I'm not like that today, but I was last week. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I cannot tell a lie. I cannot tell a lie. So yeah, so that's it. I'm tired. Like, emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted. Just, it's a lot. And it's kind of sad that I'm 45. This may be like half my lifetime, depending on, you know, what God decides for me. So I've spent 1/6 of my life trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with me. 1/6 of my life to figure out what the fuck. Actually, a little more over 1/6, but you guys know I'm not great with math. So, yeah. I don't know. I'm happy that I have a diagnosis. I'm terrified of what else, because there are more tests that they'll probably run. This kind of gives them an idea, but I'm sure there'll be more blood work. Hopefully there's no more scans. I even thought, I'm like, if I have to do another nerve conduction study, I will, but I sure don't want to. It's the worst. Nerve conduction studies are the worst. Anything to deal with your nerves is the literal worst. I don't wish it on anybody in my life. So yeah. Excuse me. As far as eating, the last 2 weeks have been shit. Like, literal shit. And Rob and I have just kind of talked through things, and we both decided that we're in the right frame of mind. We're going to do this. So Monday, Rob and I both went lower carb. Now he's still having some carbs. Like, I made him a couple of roast with potatoes. I made him sausage and potato soup. He loves that, and he has it after he goes bowling. Or if he's like cold in the winter, he'll, you know, make a soup. I do a bunch of bulk cooking, and we just went and bought meat. We didn't get to do as big as the trip as we normally do, because the new freezer we have is tiny in comparison to the last one. And I'm like, we need a different one. But we were desperate at the time because ours had died. And I wanted to make sure we didn't lose all of the food. So yesterday we were in fake fall here in Dallas. We had 25 days of temperatures at 105 or more. It's 80 today. It's like in the 70s yesterday. I called it fake fall. So yesterday I smoked a prime rib, and I made pork belly burnt ends at our chef's kiss. So I did film a little reel of me, or some footage of me prepping the prime rib. I may post that at some point, I'm not sure. But yeah, so we're going to eat on that for the rest of the week. And yeah, that's really about it. Thank you for your support. Thank you for all your love. Thank you for, you know, all your messages and reaching out and just sending all the good juju. I appreciate it. I feel like that I haven't accomplished anything really in the last couple of weeks, other than getting this genetic testing done and out of the way. We'll see what next week brings. I am trying not to be nervous. Luckily, Rob's going to go with me. I mean, he has to drive me. It's not close. So, yeah. Can you see this eye just going crazy? So, yeah. Anyway, that's it. That's a lot. That's a lot of talking. So I will try to update you guys again after I see the immunologist. Hopefully that appointment goes well. Please, Lord, baby Jesus, let this appointment go well. Please don't let me lose my shit for the new doctor. So yeah, hopefully if he does IVIG again, then I can skip seeing the neurologist until I can find a new neurologist, because I honestly do not want to fuck around with UT Southwestern other than my neurosurgeon. Rob and I went back and forth on that. I was like, because I saw a different doctor a spine surgeon, just like an orthopedic surgeon, not a neurosurgeon. And I just don't really care for him. And he also suggested another laminectomy, where my neurosurgeon was like, I can't do another laminectomy in that area because, I couldn't go any further because you would lose the, the stability or whatever. And this other doctor was like, eh, and I'm just like, so yeah. So anyway, I didn't cry. Woohoo! I deserve $1,000 so I can buy whatever the fuck I want to. Just kidding. Kinda. No, I'm just kidding. Kinda. Anywho, that's it. My Etsy shop is 25% off if you want some Christmas cards and stuff. I believe that's linked down below. And that's good through Saturday. Oh, what else? I think that's it. As far as health. So, yeah, I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted. That's the best I can do. So, anyway. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any other questions about genetic testing, just, like the genetic counseling process, just leave them in the comments down below. I'll try to get back to you. I have not been answering comments. I've been reading them. I just haven't been answering them. And again, it's mostly because I have zero bandwidth for anything. I think I mentioned this in the last video. I haven't, like today's the first day I've put on makeup since the last time I filmed a video. And I haven't been reading. I am I'm an alpha reader for an author, and they reached out and were like, can you, and I was like, no, I can't. And my friend who's a beta for the same author was like, you're not going to read it? And I said, no. I said, you read it and then let me know if you think it's okay for me, because I just cannot handle any kind of angst, any kind of trauma, anything. I just don't have the bandwidth for it, whether it's fictional or whether it's real life, because, as an empath, I can't discern emotions that are real or emotions that are fiction. They just all feel the exact same way. So yeah. This is a good day. This is a good thing. This is a good day. And things will get better. And the immunologist will be able to help. And hopefully I can get some of my life back. Amen. So we'll see. So yeah. So just say hi in the comments. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. If you have any questions for Rob, you can leave those down below as well. We'll do a Q&A at some point in our lives. Yeah. Listen to your gut. Trust your intuition. You know your body. You know what it's doing. You know. So don't let doctors or other medical professionals gaslight you into believing it's either all in your head, or you're making it up, or you're a hypochondriac. Keep fighting. I know it's tiresome. Trust me, I know. Trust me, 7 years. 7 years. It's tiresome. I know. But unfortunately, sometimes we are the only advocates that we have. So just stay strong. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. Just deep breaths. Make sure that you have a good support system in place. And if you don't, hopefully someone in the comment section will be a listening ear. I would say me, but I just don't have the mental bandwidth for that right now. So just keep fighting. Just keep fighting. Just keep fighting. Just keep swimming, right? All right, friends. I love you. Thank you for your support. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.